Trump, and Trump again. The prophecy has come true.
They don't know about the prophecy.
Oh my goodness, you guys! There was a prophet who declared that it would be Trump again. We all thought, wow, that's ridiculous. This guy thinks Trump is going to be a three-term president. No.
3 elections.
3 elections.
1 stolen, 2 landslides. The 3rd landslide being the biggest of them all. Too big to rig. We did it!
What a night. Oh my gosh.
So.
Dude, oh my gosh. It was crazy. Election night was insane. We had a bunch of people here. Started it out with some worship around the fire, praying for the election. Then we had like 15 young people in the back room in my house.
The war room.
The war room. We were watching the Charlie Kirk live stream. That dude went for 11 hours. Just crazy.
It was bigger than the Super Bowl. Bigger than anything. It was bigly great. Couldn't have been a better night. You couldn't have asked for a better night.
My mom asked me on Tuesday, she was like, do you actually think the election results will come down tonight? Like, do you think the race will get called tonight? I was like, no. Like, absolutely no way. There's no way. Because you've still got states like Arizona and Nevada, which as of now are still counting their ballots. I thought that was going to be a lot of the swing states. But man, like Hunter said, too big to rig.
I mean, winning the popular vote?
That's crazy.
Winning the popular vote?
It's like 5 or 6 million. How many votes?
Yeah, by, a good margin, 3 or 4 points.
Insane.
It's, baffled. Just baffled. We're not going to say anything that anybody else hasn't already said.
Yep.
But we just want to highlight some key things. I just want to give a special shout out, okay? Scott Pressler, our brother Scott Pressler. If you haven't heard of this guy, go look him up on X.
That guy single-handedly won.
Beautiful fellow. Pennsylvania, he was doing the work for the last 2 years. He moved to Pennsylvania just to win it for Trump. He registered the Amish.
Yeah.
Got them out to vote. And he destroyed. Biden won Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes. I think Trump is up by double that, around 130, 140,000
just insane
right now, which is nuts. And because he got literally the Amish out to vote, basically. Dude. The Amish, all kinds of, I think we won first-time voters by 10 points.
Yep.
So,
but Biden won it in 2020 by 30 points.
Yeah, so it was a 44-point swing, and you can thank Turning Point Action, people like Scott Pressler, and I was reading some articles about it, and he was like, Trump is counting on amateur group Turning Point Action to do his get out the vote.
Yeah, I don't think an amateur group registers 25% of all new registered voters in the election year. I don't think that's what you call an amateur group.
Killed it. Our Republican Party nationally did a great job. Laura Trump, Michael Whatley, they killed it. They had their lawyers on everything.
Yep.
Even before, they won multiple lawsuits before the election. It was just, insane.
It's awesome. And now, for all of us in New England, it's a bittersweet win. Because you look nationally, and we're like, let's go. You look state level, and you're like, okay,
I was hoping we could have got New Hampshire.
We'll do better next time.
I was hoping we could have got New Hampshire.
We were close.
I thought
it was
we could have done
within
it.
20, 30,000 votes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Next time.
Do you think okay, New England, I know this is a New England podcast, so I cannot believe I'm saying this. We have 5 states in New England: Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire.
Vermont.
Is Vermont New England? Oh, Connecticut. Yeah, so 5. Vermont's not. Is Vermont New England?
It is.
It is. Welcome to the Sons of Liberty. We're a New England-based podcast. I'd like to welcome all of our Vermont
it is.
supporters. Actually, no. Vermont was the first state to go for Kamala. There was just not even a question. Bernie Sanders just wiped the floor with the Republican.
We're about to get off topic, but just let me say this. There's this bit about Vermont where it's like, if white supremacists were to look at Vermont, they would think it's like their utopia. Like if the KKK was at a meeting and they were like, there's a state up in the middle of nowhere and it's 99% white. Guys, let's all move to Vermont. But then you go to Vermont and it's like a bunch of crackheads and a bunch of hippies who are communists, literally. Like socialist communists. Bernie Sanders is their senator. So I don't know what the point of that is, but let's just let that be known. That's pretty funny. Anyway, side note. Let's get back to actually relevant things.
Oh my gosh. No, okay, Trump only lost, by like exactly 20,000 votes. He only lost
In New
New Hampshire
Hampshire
by 20,000 votes.
He only lost it by like 4,000 against Hillary.
Which is...
But let's not be negative.
Well, no, that's fine. That's fine. Maine, I know I'm getting into the numbers, but we're a New England-based podcast. I think this is significant. If the number one state in New England to swing for Trump or swing Republican in a future election, it would definitely be New Hampshire. Number two would be Maine. Trump lost it by like 60,000 votes. 56,000 votes. So there is room for improvement, of course. I mean, one of the electoral votes in Maine went for Trump because
there's definitely room for improvement.
Well, that's true. That goes without saying.
Sure.
That goes without saying. But
anyways, let's not get caught up too much in the numbers of Massachusetts yet. Let's talk about the good, okay? Because looking at Massachusetts is not very good. Okay. Trump has a mandate now. He's going to probably have the House. He has the Senate by a pretty good margin. First 4 years was a mixed bag. Mostly good. Economy was booming. House prices were low. Illegal immigration was down. Good. But there were certain things like dismantling the deep state. That was, remember he said, drain the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I don't think he realized how
deep it
was.
His chief of staff, John Kelly, is now calling him Hitler. Mm-hmm. You had a bunch of doozies. You had Comey. You had all these different... You had that Scaramucci dude who was White House press secretary for a little bit. Remember that guy? That guy's a Trump hater now. All these kinds of people who were establishment, who were just in there to basically just cause havoc.
Sabotage the administration.
Make the administration look bad. Everything. Nothing good. Now... he knows where the bodies are, and he has the people in place that can actually do something. Mm-hmm. Okay? So we're going to have RFK is going to control the health stuff, which is...
That's insane.
Good. Don't let him anywhere near the environment or abortion or anything like that. But, yeah, I'm okay with cleaning up the water, getting the fluoride out of the water, turning the frogs gay. We can say that now confidently, right?
Yeah.
We can... stop the vaccine BS, stop the vaccine mandates in public schools, stop the vaccine mandates, period. Let's actually get to the bottom of what's happening and why autism has increased at a dramatic rate. But we're conspiracy theorists here, yep. If you are watching for the first time, yes, we are conspiracy theorists.
Welcome.
Pesticide in the foods, all the other stuff. We got to have the ladies on at some point. Your mother on for a good talk about that. But anyways, let's not get too deep into our realm that is not our knowledge, okay? Good.
We know nothing
all that,
about that
RFK,
stuff.
good.
I did have Cheetos yesterday, just full disclosure. I'm not...
Okay. We're not healthy.
Just being honest. I'm not healthy.
Right. Make America healthy again. We've got Tulsi Gabbard, who's going to stop the war machine. Okay.
Is she like an official position? Yeah.
I don't know what her position will be.
Okay.
But some position in the military industrial complex, dismantling that. Then, this is the biggest wild card, okay? We've got Elon Musk, potentially Vivek Ramaswamy, definitely Ron Paul. The department, Dogecoin, Department of Government Efficiency. This is what I think could be the biggest. Okay, we talked about how, we don't want to increase government, obviously. And creating a new department might be a little bit scary, okay? Call it whatever you want. Yes.
Yes, not a fan.
If the purpose of that department is for these 4 years to dismantle the entire federal government, I've heard Elon Musk talking about how, because we were talking about things, great, health, we're on a track here. Health, get rid of the military industrial complex, get rid of the deep state. Can we do it? Can we actually get rid of the deep state? I've heard Elon Musk, he said, well, literally, this was his proposal. We'll give all the federal bureaucrats that we're firing 2 years severance pay. We'll pay you for 2 years. Go figure out something else to do with your life, basically. You can go on vacation, go do whatever you want. Just go figure it out because you can be more useful in the private sector and will actually produce for the economy. And I'm fine with that. If that's what it takes, if we're paying them anyway, they can go.
If that's what it takes to get them, out, go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And again, because you don't want to lose. That's like 2 million. That's millions of people.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just lose them immediately and alienate them. And they think that what they're doing is good, even though it's not. So I think that's good. But let's get to the big meat issues. Close the border. End inflation. I want to talk about that a little bit. We're going down the rabbit hole.
Okay, like, but the big three, I would say close the border,
Yep.
lower taxes
Yep.
for everybody, and limit spending.
Limit spending.
And limit spending kind of goes in tandem with figuring out the budget.
Right.
I would say, so instead of limit spending, let's just say figure out the budget, balance the budget. That's the proper
Somehow.
phrase.
I don't know if they will balance the budget. They probably won't.
You can't just cut taxes without lowering spending, because that's why our deficit grew under Trump's administration, is because we cut taxes, which was great, but we didn't really cut spending.
Yeah.
So hopefully
Elon Musk said he wants to cut $2 trillion from the budget.
Awesome. What's our current budget? Do you know?
It's in like the 7 trillion range, 5 to 7.
Good. It's a good start.
So.
All right, but what were you going to say about inflation, I think?
Jerome Powell, he's the chair of the oh my gosh, what's the terrible thing?
Is it a 3-letter agency?
No, it's the big bank. Oh, okay.
Oh, Federal Reserve.
Jerome Powell, he's the chair of the Federal Reserve. Yeah. He's the guy who decides whether to cut the interest rates or not, and basically all this. And Trump has basically talked about firing him or forcing him to resign. And he was asked about it, and he's basically like, adamant, and I'm staying. Trump has no authority to fire me, which I think that guy is. I hate that guy already. Okay, with Christian hate. Okay, I don't actually hate him. I just don't like anything that he stands for.
But even saying that, right? Like, even saying that guy has no authority to fire me. Oh, the representative of the people.
You're an unelected idiot who
you're an unelected bureaucrat.
Is one of the most powerful people in America. No wonder why you don't want to lose your job. Yeah. And it just, he said, nope, he has no, if you want to pull up the clip, I don't know if you want to pull it up. Whatever. This guy's obnoxious. Jerome Powell, if you want to look up the clip about, and this is what we're dealing with. This is what we've been dealing with. I'm okay with abolishing the Federal Reserve. Why is it
a thing?
It's not federal, and it doesn't reserve anything. Yeah. Okay, because it's not controlled by the federal government at all. Basically,
Isn't it even independent of like America itself?
Yeah, it's
like, it has to do with other nations.
Woodrow Wilson did a horrible thing to the American people. Yeah. It's bad.
I would say Woodrow Wilson is the worst president in American history.
He's bottom 5. He's on the list somewhere with Joe Biden, with Jimmy. I mean, but the thing is, Jimmy Carter wasn't that consequential. He was bad, but he wasn't that consequential. Biden was bad, but he wasn't that consequential.
Oh, Biden was consequential. Are you serious?
The COVID stuff?
No, like the potential. Like if Kamala won and it threw us into World War III somehow, it will be blamed on Biden.
Fair.
But if Trump can turn it around, then Biden will get a pass.
The thing is, but Biden did give us Trump back. He took him away, but he gave him
Joe
back.
Biden, the only thing you did right was being so terrible that we got Trump back. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, but let's not get too caught up. But basically, my point about that, Jerome Powell, is that we're going to face a lot of that over the next 4 years. Yep. People who have had positions that they should never have had
in the first place.
Agencies that they should position in.
Agencies that should never have been created.
Right.
Yeah, positions that should never have been created.
You're going to see, and there's going to be fallout from that. There's going to be things that maybe don't do as well economic-wise. There's going to be things that happen because it's been propped up by something that is fake.
Yeah.
So that might happen. Elon is he's came out and basically said things could be bad for a few months or maybe even a year while we try to figure out, while we clean up the mess.
Yeah. In order to build a good foundation, you kind of have to knock down the house of cards.
Yeah.
And it might temporarily throw everything into a bit of chaos, but that's okay. And that's the problem with inflation. All these politicians want to keep their jobs, so they just keep printing money so we can continue to prop up the economy so they can continue to get reelected, because if they know they don't print more money, then we're going to go into a recession. And even though a recession would actually help the economy long term because it helps reset things, it would get a lot of politicians fired from their jobs.
Right.
So it's like, okay, we just got to keep printing money. And get us raises. Like,
detoxing from an addiction is not a very
pleasant experience. Yeah.
So I think America needs to go through a detox if that's anything that happens over these next 4 years. I don't know. It's going to be a difficult task.
It's going to be a really hard 4 years.
Yeah.
It will.
It's going to be we're going to face battles. But basically, those are the big things. You talk about what we want to happen. Obviously, figure out something with the trans stuff. I don't know if banning sex changes under 18 nationally is something you can do. I don't know if that's constitutional necessarily. Would you be for that?
I mean, look, I'm for morality. So on one side, I'm like, yeah, of course I'm for that. But on the other hand, I don't know if it's constitutional.
Yeah.
Like what
Well-
on a national level? Like I don't know.
Whatever it is, one way to do that, that's one thing that RFK could address in terms of with the health things and stop propping it up by the federal government.
It's true. At least have the federal government stop funding
Right.
these things.
Right. So
And eliminate the ability for a future Democratic federal government to then reinforce these things in the future.
that's a good point. What do we think are federal departments that we could actually get rid of?
Department of Education,
Gone.
Homeland Security.
Gone.
Oh, repeal the Patriot Act. That's not a
Repeal the Patriot. Vance has talked about that.
Repealing the
I haven't heard
Patriot
Trump
Act.
talk about the Patriot Act, but I've heard Vance talk about it.
That's not a three-letter agency, but that's just something I thought of.
Right.
So yeah, Homeland Security.
ATF.
Dude, oh my gosh, ATF. Yep, they've just created regulations out of
Fugazi.
Yeah. It's not
There
even
it
in the
is.
elemental chart. And Department of Education. Like, let's just start there. Let's
Yep.
just start there. Oh, so good. So
How
good.
amazing. Oh my gosh. Education back to the States.
Dude,
Awesome. Okay.
that'd be so good.
Okay. So we're dismantling if all Trump does is just decrease the size of federal government,
It's a win.
it's a win.
Yeah,
I
it's a
don't
win.
care really about. I mean, I do care.
Yeah, we can start the Christo-fascist stuff when Vance gets elected in 2028.
That's later. We'll have revival. We'll have all that. Vance
just
will come
kidding, I'm
around.
kidding,
We'll
I'm
do
kidding.
it. We'll have.
It's not Christo-fascist. It's just biblical.
It's just Christ is King. That's all.
Jesus Christ. Just kidding.
Okay. Good. We'll bring in one more thing. Okay, there's a lot to talk about. How about Florida?
The most base state in the freaking nation.
Florida is now as red as Texas.
More red, isn't it?
More red than
Yeah,
Texas.
it got,
It's insane.
yeah.
Shout out Ron DeSantis. Shout out to Florida GOP.
That's what you call biblical leadership.
Gives me some hope.
Yeah.
And they struck down the abortion amendment.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
yeah.
just shout out. I mean, if Ron DeSantis, if he just had just a lick of more personality and likability, or not, I mean, he's likable.
He is very likable.
But if he just had a lick of more charisma, he would be.
He'd be an unbelievable
he'd be
president.
an unbelievable candidate. You could have a Reagan style. I mean, he's just such a competent governor.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll have a role in the administration or not, or what the deal with that is. Also, I really thought we were going to get Virginia. Shout out to Glenn Youngkin. You know what's crazy? Virginia they have a 1-term limit on their governor, so he can't run for re-election.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
1 4-year term. There's actually a black lady who's a very based Christian black lady. Winsome Sears, I think her name is. She's running for governor. She's a lieutenant governor now.
That's awesome.
Anyway.
Oh, I've heard about her. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like based.
That's awesome.
But isn't it just amazing? Let's just bask in this, okay? Let's just bask. Trump openly campaigned on the transgenderism issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a winning issue. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a winning.
Because it got young men fired up.
Yeah.
I think that's what. I was listening to Clay and Buck yesterday. They were saying that it was the. I can't remember what they called it, but their hypothesis was that it just got young men fired up because some Trump ad that went really well was like Kamala's for they them, but Trump is for you.
Yeah.
Like that's such a good line, and like the whole like guys and women's sports stuff, like real young men, like even
young women.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm thinking mostly young men specifically, but even those dudes who are pushed down in society as misogynist for just wanting to, have a wife and have a lot of kids and, be
Work
able
a
to
blue collar job and
work a
not
blue collar job and be able to take care of the wife so she doesn't feel like she has to work and all this stuff. Like
Whoa.
all those guys, all of those guys who are being pushed down on in society, they're seeing dudes beat up women, give women concussions, Leah Thomas against Riley Gaines, that situation. It's like, no, like we're going to stand up for women.
right.
And we're going to protect
Whether
women.
they like it or
That's our
not.
biblical mandate.
Whether they like it,
protect women.
whether they like it or not.
whether women like it or not.
As Trump said. I can't believe he got away with that, I guess.
What did he say?
He said we're gonna protect women whether they like it or not. We're gonna protect them. Oh, brother. But
Oh my gosh.
okay,
But that just goes to show that the feminist movement only succeeded because men allowed it to happen.
true. And this brings up another point. We haven't even talked about this. When is the funeral for the mainstream media? When is their funeral? When is it? Because they're dead. They're done. They're cooked.
Yeah.
They're cooked. Any semblance of narrative that they
Sons
thought,
of Liberty is the future.
Joe Rogan's interview with Trump got more views than all of Kamala's interviews with anybody else combined.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. There was a lady, JD Vance talked about how we're going to take out the trash in D.C. and that trash is Kamala Harris. And this one lady, I forget her name, but she was on MSNBC and she said with her smug tone, "Oh, JD Vance, you just effed up big time. All the women that are going to come out against you now. Oh, JD Vance. Oh, JD Vance." Remember all the JD Vance hate?
Oh, dude, insane.
Some of the massage, JD Vance is just a brother. It's just a bro. He's just a dude. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Normal guy. And feminists don't like normal guys, like you said. So to the point, the mainstream media, dead. Fight. They're dead. I mean, that is honestly one of the things that brings me the most joy out of this is that the mainstream media is dead. I mean, what do they have left? What power do they have left? They couldn't even, they pushed January 6th. They pushed the COVID stuff. They pushed Trump as a fascist. They pushed Trump as a threat to democracy. All of this.
Yeah, the Russia collusion hoax,
Russia,
the two
everything,
all the indictments.
Everything saying Trump is unelectable. Everything
he's friends
they
with
said.
Putin. He's friends with Kim Jong-un.
For the last 10
loves dictators.
years. Everything.
Yeah.
And he won by the biggest margin he's ever won by.
Yeah.
And they, I love it.
Yeah, that just goes to show you that the mainstream media does not have the ultimate power over the people. When you mock the states in the middle of the country as just flyover states, when you mock the people, they will revolt because they don't listen to you anyways. Why do you think you have any power?
Right.
I mean, there's a reason all the cities go Democrats because I'm sure that's the majority of their viewership comes from there.
Right.
But didn't a ton of CNN viewership go down after they stopped getting played in airports? You remember that?
Yeah.
When they stopped getting played in airports, their viewership just got a significant cut.
I mean, it shows, this is the one thing, generally technology and the internet has been not so good for morality and things like that. But if that's one thing that comes out of it is that people are able,
Independent
I'm going to make
media.
a big statement here, okay? I'm going to make a
big statement,
a really
incoming.
big statement. Nobody's talking about this. In the same way that when John Wycliffe decided to translate the Bible to English, okay?
Uh-oh.
Hold on a second. In the same way, the ability for independent media to find the truth and allow people to find the truth on their own is that's huge. That's a huge deal. Because before, what would you do? You would turn on the TV and whatever the person on the news was saying, you generally had to trust that what they were saying was accurate.
Yeah.
You would have newspapers on one side or the other, but again, the newspapers were controlled by the media, and in large, billionaires, all these kinds of people, they own the media and they control it because they're pushing a certain narrative. But now, anything goes.
Yeah.
If you want to find out information on any topic, you have it in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
That is a huge, revival level deal.
Yep.
And maybe it's not for Christianity. It will be. God is using it and will use it for his purposes. But even if it's just for overall general knowledge and coming to the truth, it's enormous. And I think that was what Joe Rogan might have just won Trump the election. He might have.
Who knows, dude? I mean, what was it, 47 million views?
Or X.
True.
Even X,
oh,
too.
Yeah, 100%.
What are we talking about?
Elon Musk, Joe Rogan.
I mean, the fact, literally, you had people on X posting about election fraud that was happening and getting kicked out of line.
Yep.
And the RNC went and sued and won because you were able to publish things that before
That's true.
X was censoring.
So they were on it within minutes.
Yes.
They were on it. There was no that's such a good point. Every narrative that Kamala tried to push or the mainstream media tried to push, you go on X and you see hundreds of thousands of people posting
Dispelling the narrative
and posting the actual
You
truth.
there was an account called Kamala HQ, which was her biggest propaganda pusher. Every time Trump said something, they took it out of context. Every time Vance said something, they took out of context. Right underneath it, there was another page called Kamala HQ Lies that would go underneath it and be like,
oh my gosh.
Kamala HQ says this, what actually happened? And 9 times out of 10, there's a few that Kamala HQ was actually right about. 9 times out of 10, it was just a complete and utter lie.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference. I think that's going to be a huge thing going forward in America is that the mainstream media has officially lost their grip. They had a semblance of it in 2016 when Trump won, but they kind of took it back in 2020 because they had the whole fear scare of COVID.
Yeah.
But now it's over. And that's going to be a big deal moving forward.
But we cannot let our foot off the gas.
No, we can't.
Especially us here in New England. Like this is like, it just makes me more excited to work harder to get change on a local level.
Because we see a path.
Yeah, we got to fix culture. We got to bring revival. And we as Christians specifically have to stop deciding that like, well, the country's going down the tubes. That's God's will. So let's just let it happen because, it's up to God at the end of the day. Like that's like, it's true. Those are true statements.
But that's not Christianity.
But that's not how, but that's up to God. We got to do God's will. Obviously, Christians have different roles in the body of Christ, but we got to do God's will, which is to, what's the Micah 6:8? I constantly forget that.
Do justly. What does the Lord require of thee? But to do justly.
So,
love.
Hold on. Yep. Do justly. Get politicians who fear God elected in office. True statesmen elected in office who fear God, so we can enact justice on a state and local level. Second one.
Love mercy.
Love mercy. We show compassion to those who are hurting. We care for the widows and the orphans. We encourage the church to step up and do their job by caring for the widows and orphans.
And walk humbly.
And walk humbly with your God. Very simple, guys.
That's all the Lord requires of us. So, and I hope let's turn the page, as Kamala would say. I do hope. Okay, Trump. We need to make sure that we acknowledge that Trump was the man necessary for the time. Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. That's me.
My guy didn't mute his phone.
That's my mom. Will answer it. Hello? Hi. No, I'm doing a podcast.
Dad's keeping that in there, dude.
No, we're not keeping that in. Okay.
What was she saying?
Just talking about the dogs or whatever.
Okay.
So, okay, this is a big point I want to make. Just turning the page. Let's acknowledge Trump for who he is. He was a man that was necessary for the time. He's a moderate, generally, who was willing to stand up in many ways for conservatives in a lot of issues, the transgender issue, things facing us. But let's not make him the gold standard for what a good leader looks like, because he's not.
Yeah.
I don't want to be negative, and we can celebrate, and this is great. We won. But he's disrespectful in a lot of times, in a lot of ways. He is. Let's be honest. In a lot of ways, he is. He doesn't have to say things about women the fat pig thing is funny. Okay. But it's not what I would.
That was like years ago.
It's not. But I'm just saying,
he doesn't do that stuff anymore.
Okay, fine. But
No,
I'm just saying.
I don't think he's.
I'm
People,
just saying.
people who say he's a jerk, I'm like, maybe he used to be. I don't think he's a jerk anymore. This is the time and this is the election where he's went on the most independent podcast. And when is he out there just bashing people? He's not.
He's not.
He's very cordial. He's respectful. He's a very good communicator. He's interested in the people he's interviewing. Like his podcast with Theo Vaughn, he was asking Theo Vaughn about how he got sober, and they were talking about sobriety, and Trump was talking about his brother and how he struggled with alcoholism. And like, I don't think he's that. I think he's received counsel, and he has taken that to heart, and he's changed in a lot of ways.
Fair point. I'm just saying overall,
but I understand
let's require more of our leaders.
I understand what
in terms of diplomacy. Let's call out evil, and I'm grateful that he does that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, let's require more of our leaders as Christians.
Of course.
And that's all the point that I'm making. And acknowledge that Trump is not like, well, first of all, he's not Jesus. We know that.
Yeah.
But he's not a George Washington. He's not a Abraham Lincoln. Jury is out on Abraham Lincoln. He's not Abraham Lincoln. He's closer to Reagan than anything, which is good.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, I hope we can get to a place in America where we can make a definitive statement. A president is able to make a definitive statement on abortion because he has the backing of the church, knowing that if he takes a stand on abortion, that the church will back him at the ballot box. And so part of that, I do blame Trump because I know what his personal views are. He's made it clear. But I don't blame Trump also because you have to win an election.
Yeah. But if the evangelical church, which is the largest voting bloc in America, if the evangelical church actually voted pro-life, and when there was a pro-life candidate, they went out and voted
in the primaries.
Then it would, in the primaries, it would force Trump to change his views
or not get elected.
So that's the point I'm making, is that
let's go one step further, okay? The left makes Trump out to be the super radical conservative when he's really not on a lot of policies. He has a lot of good people around him, and he's honestly probably becoming more conservative as he gets older.
Yep, especially with JD Vance, who's much more conservative.
Yeah, but like in terms of the Constitution, in terms of, you know, being a little bit smarter with your words. Okay, let's just say that. He can be smarter with his words.
Sure.
And standing up for the unborn and such things such as that. Let's not take this as a moment to be complacent and say woohoo and be happy. Let's do that, but let's not be complacent about it. Let's take it one step further. When JD Vance is on the ballot in 2028, or whoever it is on the ballot, let's give them an opportunity to be able to take a stand on life and the issues, the social issues, eventually gay marriage, getting that gone again. Yep. Like, let's make that able to be a thing that's talked about at the national level again. That's what I hope that comes out of this. It has been, we'll get to it later, it's been the mercy of God that Trump won and that Kamala wasn't able to push her evil agenda over the last 4 years forward more. But let's use this as an opportunity not to just be complacent, but to take a step forward.
Yep.
So that's kind of my...
And shifting the Overton window.
Exactly.
To the point where we can discuss these social issues and it not hurt our good candidates.
Right.
That's what we got to do.
But... Massachusetts, okay. We've talked about the national level. Let's talk about Massachusetts.
I need all my New England voters to zone, my New England viewers to zone in right now. Like, this
Overall,
is important.
Very bad. Very bad. Very bad. John Deaton got smoked.
Running against Elizabeth Warren, he did
a little better than
destroyed.
Jeff Deal did, but who cares when you're not even standing for anything other than like people being human trafficked, which is a good thing. But other than that, yeah, I support the border bill that would have allowed 5,000 migrants to come in a day. That's a good thing. So sorry, John Deaton, we love you. If you want to come on the podcast, we'd have you. So we would also have Liz Warren. I'd rather have Liz Warren because that would be way more fun. Anyway.
So much more. Dude, can we get Liz Warren? Oh my gosh. That would be so fun.
Getting off track. When I'm in 12 years, 2036, I'll run against her. I'll just run for everything. Okay. Anyways, but we do have one good story. One. Just this is the only one. I can't really, we had a few state rep victories, but I don't really care about those.
Well, Lily Tang Williams in New Hampshire, she didn't win, but she blew up over the weekend. Like, Elon Musk endorsed her, Joe Rogan endorsed her, Trump endorsed her.
She did. She went from 80,000 followers to 240,000 followers on Twitter.
It's insane.
Which is nuts. X.
In a few days.
Yeah. So that's good. But really, Ken Sweezy is 29. We had him on our podcast before. He won. That's a young person.
Live pod, yeah.
Yeah, in politics, getting in, and, that's good. But what I think was the most exciting thing for me is our brother, Dan Sullivan. You may know him as Nurse Dan. He ran for Congress against Bill Keating. And pretty much people have got anywhere from 37 to 41% of the vote against Bill Keating. Dan Sullivan got 43.6% of the vote.
Yeah.
And he got outspent by a lot.
A ton.
And he didn't have much money to spend. He fought a very grassroots campaign. That guy works. He's a full-time nurse. He works probably 60 hours a week. And he was running a successful, a very good campaign. Shout out to him. And he's super based. Like, super based. He brought up Agenda 2030. He brought up...
That's true, yeah.
Who's bringing that up?
He's really big.
So I think this is something to watch going forward in Massachusetts, is that Bill Keating's congressional seat.
Yeah, it's up for grabs
if he
in
can get 43.6% of the vote without being able to do a mass door-knocking campaign, a mass advertising campaign, if we can raise him $1 million, he could win this race.
True. And District 1 and 2 in Massachusetts had an independent running. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, those districts had nobody opposing the Democrats. And the District 8, which is like the Boston area, had a Republican who got like barely 30% of the vote. And then you got Dan Sullivan in District 9, Cape and Islands
Which
district.
Includes Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket.
This is Obama's district.
Right.
Like, for you national people who don't really know what we're talking about, like, this is Obama's district. Like when Ron DeSantis sent all those migrants to Martha's Vineyard, like, this is the district. Like, all those migrants then got, when all the rich people didn't want them Martha's Vineyard, they got sent to Cape Cod. Like, they're here with us right now. Like, this is Obama's district. Like,
that's a big deal.
It almost got flipped by like 60,000. It was like 60,000 or like 56,000 votes.
He needs 6% more. That's doable.
Yeah, like, it almost got flipped, and we have so many MAGA independents in Massachusetts who just don't vote.
Right.
And I'm sure more of them voted this election. I mean, Trump only lost by like 800,000 votes in Massachusetts, which is a lot, I know, but it's the largest margin in New England. Like, he got wiped out the most, but there's also the most amount of people in New England. In Massachusetts,
Right.
like it's highest in population in terms of all the states in New England. So it's doable.
It's doable.
Nurse
But
Dan?
I think let's watch this. Let's just
Yeah.
and if you don't know who Nurse Dan is, look him up. He's great, awesome guy. We know him personally, very good guy. Maybe we'll have him on. We'll see.
I think we should.
We should. But here's another, and this is Massachusetts. This election has actually, it does have positive consequences in Massachusetts.
I will say, let's just point out, Mass GOP did not endorse Nurse Dan. They did not help Nurse Dan.
Right. Let's make
Mass
that clear.
GOP sucks. Amy Carnavelli sucks.
I thought we've been holding off on the Amy Carnavelli. We've been very nice to her, actually. We've called her Rhino, but we've been very nice to her.
She sucks.
We thought, oh, there's some energy behind candidates. You didn't gain any seats in the state house in a year where the migrant crisis, everything, this should have been the year.
This should have been our year.
This should have been our year. And we lost seats in Plymouth. We didn't gain anything. It's time for a new leadership. She had a chance in an election year that should have been gain 3 or 4 seats.
It should have been so easy.
It should have been so easy.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
And she didn't do it. And part of that's on the candidates, yes. But
it's your job to find people to run. Why did 5 congressional districts go unopposed? Why? Like, there's no excuse for that. 5 people. You can find 5 freaking people.
And U.S. House representatives don't even have to be from that district. I'm pretty sure.
Perfect.
They can run from anywhere.
Perfect.
So
that's a little weird, but perfect.
Yeah. So what in the world are we doing?
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see who runs. We have some names. Some names have been thrown out there. Who's going to run for the chair of the Mass GOP?
Okay, now Amy Carnavelli, if you're not voted out until 2026, like, here's your redemption moment. Like, here it is. Okay. We have got the effort to repeal H.4 885 on the ballot in 2026.
Right.
Thanks to Toby Leary. We can, and this is also when Maura Healey's up for re-election. We can up the ballot, vote Republican up ballot. You're going to bring out 2A supporters who never vote to vote to try to,
of them.
Yep, to try to repeal this bill. And you are going to take this issue. This is going to be an opportunity. People are going to come to the ballot box to vote for that ballot question to repeal that law. And then hopefully it's your job to get those people, to appeal to those people to vote Republican down ballot. It can be done. All of your job. Make sure no Democrat goes unopposed on any national or state seat. I know it's a big task, but you can do it. It's not like it's your job or anything.
Put your big girl pants on.
Put your pantsuit on. Sorry, we're being rude. I apologize. But just do your job. And
Bill Belichick. Can we have Bill Belichick be the chair of Mass GOP? We get it done.
We would get it done. You're right.
We get it done. I don't care what his political beliefs are.
He'd get someone to run.
He'd get it done.
He would.
He'd figure it out.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I feel like he's got to be a little based. Like, no,
he does.
He's got to be based.
He's got a young girlfriend. That's a side point. Okay. Let's see. So, but this is going to have positive consequences, and I'll tell you why. It's going to bring the migrant crisis in Massachusetts to a national forefront. It's going to create media buzz. You know why? Because Trump is going to start deporting illegal immigrants who rape people in Martha's Vineyard and in Cape Cod who haven't been sent out. Okay? There are rapists in the state of Massachusetts who Maura Healey is protecting. Only because they're illegal immigrants. Make that make sense for me. I don't know how you can defend it, but she is. And Trump's going to come in and he's going to say, hey, Maura Healey, how about we just deport those people? We'll take them out for you. It's ICE. You don't even have to spend a dime. And Maura Healey said, no, I will not cooperate with any of Trump's deportations as far as it depends on me. If that's not a winning soundbite immediately, I will not help support deporting rapists and criminals. then what in the world are we gonna have a sound? What in the world are we gonna win on?
Maura, you're making it too easy for us.
You would think.
Yeah, you would think.
But she thinks but you know why? Because she thinks she has it easy because she won with like 65% of the vote with no pushback. I love Jeff Deal, but seriously, she thinks she can do it all. She thinks she can do whatever the hell liberal agenda she wants. So, please, I don't want to have to move, okay? I want to raise my kids in Massachusetts, okay? I don't want to have to go to New Hampshire or wherever else. But there comes a point where if it gets so bad, can you raise your kids here? I don't know. I don't want to even think about that. I want to live in America's hometown where my ancestors came in on the Mayflower to create a Christian nation. Like, I want to live there. That's where I want to live. I don't want to live in a place where we say, you know, we have some people who raped 12-year-old girls here, and we could send them out of our country, but we're going to choose not to because
it's their circumstances who caused them to violate that girl. It's right. Not their it's not their personal. They don't have personal responsibility. It's not their fault. It's the circumstances they've been dealt, and that's the Marxist lie of this.
Right.
We're living in a Marxist socialist experiment here in Massachusetts, and it's failing. It's failing our people. We're becoming poor.
People are moving out.
People are leaving. We are decreasing wealth, increasing poverty.
Yep.
We're going in a bad direction. We need.
Yeah. So please, please. We're gonna get to work, okay, in 2026. Okay.
We're getting to work now.
Okay, but let's do it.
Don't let your foot off the gas pedal.
Maura Healey, keep doing what you're doing, please. So we have the sound bites.
True. Please go for it.
Well, I'd love for her to repent. First of all, I would love for that. That would be great. That would be wonderful. But it's not going to happen. So what we're saying is Massachusetts, it's your time, okay? It's going to get bad. It's going to get worse because it's going to come to a forefront. We're going to lose federal funding because Republicans are going to have the House and the Senate. It's going to happen. They're going to blame the Republicans. They're going to say it's their fault, blah, 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 blah. They're going to whine and complain. Bridges are getting fixed on Cape Cod. The traffic's going to suck. Life's going to suck around here. It's going to be bad. But in 2026, we have a chance to do something. Please, something. Charlie Baker comes back. I don't know. Please, not that.
Don't, no.
But Mass GOP needs help.
Knows? Maybe he runs against Liz Warren.
My point is that Mass GOP needs help because we have a chance to do something great here. Okay, there's certainly room to grow. We have 26 state reps, 30 representatives out of 200. Like, Maura, please. I mean, we need to do something. Get out. Join your Republican town committee. Door knock for a candidate. If you're in a district that's unopposed, run for something. I don't care if you don't spend any time on it. At least you're somebody. Like these issues that we're going against are so obviously common sense. Especially as Trump, is able to wield power from the federal level. The things that he's going to push are going to be common sense.
Yep.
And she's going to diametrically oppose anything Donald Trump supports. Even some health stuff that Democrats might even be for, she's going to go against it because it's coming from Trump.
Yeah.
Because we got TDS running up and down the lane here. Okay, up and down the court. Morley loves basketball. How's that analogy for you, okay? You're running a fast break on Trump derangement syndrome. So we need to change the narrative in Massachusetts. We need to show people what their Democrat representatives are actually supporting. And I can exhaust this point all day, but if people don't go and do the work, if candidates don't go out and door knock, if the GOP doesn't organize people to go and door knock, if local Republican town committees don't organize people to go and door knock and get out the vote and change people's minds, then we're not going to win. You can talk about all this stuff. The media is not going to be on your side. That's not going to happen. You're not going to get Cambridge. You're not going to get these people. They're not going to be on your side by advertising like that. You have to go and door knock. You have to actually go meet people who don't usually vote.
The Cape and Islands district, all the way up to like Hanover, Marshfield, that area on the South Shore, and then the space in between Springfield and Boston, like all that in between, like those towns. There's like a swath of towns that went red for Trump.
Yeah, and you can get them.
And you can get them. You just go there. Door knock. Stay here. Door knock. Like we have a chance. Like people are like, oh, like this is the district of Obama. This is the district of like P-town or whatever. We can't do anything here. But like only like 2,400 people voted in P-Town.
Yeah.
Only like probably a few thousand people voted in Martha's Vineyard. Like,
And we're in it for
there
long.
are so many more based common sense people here than not. That's what I think.
And
They're just demoralized and they don't vote. And there is a spirit of apathy over New England as a whole. And we need to pray that the Holy Spirit will break that
Amen.
spirit of apathy.
Amen.
And that he will wake the church up. And he will give pastors boldness to speak the truth. And all that goes hand in hand. Walk humbly. Do justly.
Love mercy.
Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. Let's do those three things.
And let's go out and chase votes in churches. I don't care anymore.
Oh, yeah, of course.
do
Why
it.
aren't we doing that?
Yeah. And so my thing is let's get the ball rolling in the right direction. It's not right now in Massachusetts. It's just not. And it's going to be a long haul. We're not going to, Rome wasn't built in a day. And it wasn't torn down in a day either. So let's do it. Let's get it going. Let's take heart. Trump is president. The evil has some delay now, but it'll try to come back again. In 4 years, the Democrats they'll figure it out in 4 years. They'll put up a better candidate than Kamala Harris in 4 years. And we need to get the ball rolling in this state. It has to happen. It has to happen. God has had mercy on our nation by not allowing Kamala Harris, a wicked woman tyrant leader, to be president. Okay? He stopped that from happening. Her being a woman is irrelevant. If she was a man and had the same beliefs, I would say the same thing. Cover my bases here. My point is that God had mercy upon America on Tuesday night. For some reason, I know Trump supports the murder of babies, but take heart in that it's not going to be pushed down your throats, supporting doctors, forcing OBGYNs to do abortions, arresting grandmothers for praying out in front of abortion clinics. At least that won't happen anymore. At least we have a voice now, okay? At least we have a seat at the table, okay? So let's get her done. When will the church wake up and actually focus on politics in the political realm? When will it? I think the time is now. In Massachusetts, in New England, in the whole country. But let's just take it. All right, let's do this. Let's do this, okay? We haven't gone here in a while. All right. The individual, okay? What can you do? Go to church. Start reading your Bible. Start praying. Start conforming your life to the will of God. Okay, check. Now what? Once you do that, what do? Find a spouse, preferably of the opposite gender, to do that with, who is like-minded, who also do the same thing. Have a bunch of babies. Don't send them to public school. Homeschool them. Raise them up in those same things that I just mentioned before. Teach them that Christ is on the throne. Teach them that not to fear any man. Teach them to be bold. Teach them to speak the truth. Teach them all the things that you should be doing in your own life. Do that. Okay. Encourage your church. Encourage your pastor to do all of those things. Become a deacon. Become an elder. Become a pastor. A youth pastor. A leader. A volunteer in your church.
Become a servant.
Become a servant,
Yeah.
right?
Care for the widows and orphans. Church.
Right? Do all those things.
As individuals.
As an institution.
Yeah, organize a homeless outreach in your church. Reach out to those widows and orphans. Reach out to all the illegal aliens. I'm serious. Like, Bring them into the church. They're lost. They're lost souls who need to be saved.
Yeah, and their church right now is the government telling them everything to do and taking care of them.
How about let's take Maura Healey's job. She doesn't need to buy out hotels. How about the church starts taking care of these people?
Amen. And encouraging them to go back to their country.
Now, I'm not saying Maura Healey, don't you dare friggin' force it down our throats as the church, because we will not comply with that BS.
Right.
That's not charity. That's the great lie of. Oh my gosh. That is a lie that so many pastors are falling for. It's like, well, the Democrat Party, they say a lot of good stuff about taking care of the poor and and helping the widows and the orphans. Like, no, they force
and they
people
steal
with money, and they steal money from people and then give it to poor people who don't know how to handle it properly, and then they end up using it and making them more poor than they were before.
Yes.
Like that's not a very popular point, but that's kind of how it works in a lot of cases. Like, no, the church needs to be the one to give and to empower, and to not only don't just give them a blank check, because that's not helping. That's not generosity. That's theft, and that's enabling.
Yeah, amen.
That is not healthy. Church, wake up on that point. It's your job, not the government's. It's your job to take care of the widows and the orphans, to take care of the poor. It's not the government's job. So stop with that. Stop with the narrative that the Democrat Party somehow has a monopoly on how to take care of poor people and is more charitable than the Republican Party. And the Republican Party is mean to poor people. That's BS. The Republican Party wants to empower the middle class. And when you empower the middle class, it's going to make everybody just a little bit richer.
Right. And yeah. And at the church level, encourage your church to vote righteously, vote biblically, vote truly. Like, why are Christians voting for Kamala? Why are Christians voting for Democrats? Like, please make it make sense. But anyway, so it's bottom up. It's not just looking at the national and getting caught up in all this crap, because most of us, that's not our job. Some of us it is, but most of us it's not. If we just focus on our own life, then we can build a family, then we can build a church, then we can go and some of us need to be in government. Some of us need to run for school board. Some of us need to run for selectmen to stop low-income housing that's going to support illegal immigrants from happening. Some of us need to do that. Some of us need to run for state rep. Some of us need to run for governor. Toby Leary.
Wink.
If you're watching. Some of us need to do that. Some of us need to run for vice president, whatever that may be. Then we can get into the government sphere. And also, start your own business, okay? These are the 5 spheres, okay? The 5 basic spheres of influence: individual, family, church, civil government, and the economy. That's where influence lies in. You can add some, you can add the media, you can add all those other things, but generally that's what it is. And start your own business. Don't be reliant. Grow your own food. If the grid goes down, if things are bad because there's a recession, be able to be self-reliant so that you're able to bless others.
Yeah, and to be able to be the one that when the recession happens, the people in your local church look to you and you can provide for those people.
And stop buying a bunch of BS. Stop spending your money on going to 85 Red Sox games or whatever. I'm not calling out anyone in specific. Like, just stop spending your money on crap subscriptions on Netflix and all these different, stop doing that. Just stop, because that's how, look at who the biggest Democratic donors are. Look at who the biggest donations to abortion are, and stop spending your money with those companies. Just stop. Start your own business, become self-reliant, become everything that the Democratic Party hates, is basically my point.
Yep.
And that's how...
Work, succeed, be happy. How to annoy a liberal.
Exactly. And so do all those things in your personal life. And as Dave Ramsey says, stop caring about what's going on in the White House and start focusing on what's going on in your house. Yep. And if you do that, Republicans will just win. Because people will vote righteously. And we have to push them to do that. We need to have people doing that as well. But I'm saying if we do this individually, so many of all of our society's problems they won't stop completely. But that's how they stop, is through that bottom-up process and people acknowledging that if I don't get my together, then nobody else is going to get my together for me other than Christ. So lean on him, is my point. This is great. President is great. It will stop a lot of evil things, but ultimately the path to the America that we want is through what I just said, because I'm right and I have the monopoly on truth.
Do justly, love mercifully, walk humbly with your God. I think that's the takeaway.
Right. That's my point.
That's those 5 points is articulated what that verse means, I'd say.
Right.
Yeah. All right, you guys, this is a big day. This is a big moment for our nation. This is a pivotal turning point. So don't let our foot off the gas.
God is giving us a chance.
Yeah. Let's keep praying, keep falling on our knees. Remember that verse in 2 Chronicles, if we turn away from evil, if we turn our face back to God, he will look upon us and he will heal our land. That was a paraphrase. But let's
do that.
Let's do that. That's a good thing. Thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this podcast with your friends, and let's keep the revival going. Thanks so much
Amen.
for watching. My name is Sam Muley.
My name is Hunter Young.
And we are the
The Sons of Liberty podcast.
podcast.